Hi everyone, today we're going to be learning how to solve quadratics by factoring. So we've practiced solving quadratics by graphing. We also practiced our factoring skills. Now we're going to take that factoring one step further. We're actually going to start solving. So here's our first example. We've got 1/2 times the quantity x plus 3 squared equals 8x. So your first goal, in order to factor, your equation has to be equaling 0. Clearly ours doesn't. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to get rid of that 1/2. How I get rid of fractions is I multiply both sides by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So over here, we're going to have x plus 3 squared equals 16x. Now I'm going to take the x plus 3 squared. I'm going to write that out twice, because when you square something, that just means you multiply it by itself. I'm going to go ahead and FOIL. And I'm going to combine my like terms now. Finally, I'm going to subtract that 16x over, so everything's on one side. And at this point, we finally have it equaling 0. So from here, we can factor. All right, we're looking at this. When I'm looking at this, I gotta figure out which of my methods of factoring I can use. We have 3 methods of factoring we can use. We've got GCF, we've got trinomials, and we have difference of squares. So when you have a problem that looks like this, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, which is just a trinomial. Just means it has 3 terms with all 3 parts. Okay, we're going to be factoring like we do in this problem. So whenever you see this, you have to think, oh, I've got a trinomial, we're going to use this and we're just going to factor. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring it up to my parentheses. What gives me x squared? X times x. What multiplies to 9? We've got 3 and 3, we've got 1 and 9, and our goal is to get to -10. Well, I'm thinking if I do 1 and 9, I can get that to -10 if both of them are negative. Let me just pause and double check that's right. Got -x, -9x. That in fact does give me that -10x. So I've completely factored it right. Now we're just going to take both of those parentheses and set them equal to 0. So I've got x minus 1 equals 0. And x minus 9 equals 0, and we're going to solve for x. I can add 1 to both sides here, and I get x equals 1. And I can add 9 to both sides, so I get x equals 9. And there are my 2 solutions. All right, my next problem here is 2 times the quantity x squared minus x plus 3 equals 6 minus 7x. So first up, we need to get rid of those parentheses, and we need to move everything to one side so it's equaling to 0. So I'm going to distribute that 2. So I get 2x squared minus 2x plus 6 equals 6 minus 7x. I'm subtract that 6 over and add that 7x over, so I get 2x squared plus 5x equals 0. All right, so now we're going to pause and look at what we have here and figure out which are our methods. When we have 2 terms like this, all right, and you've got like an ax squared plus bx equals 0. So when we have ax squared plus bx equals 0, all right, we're going to be factoring or use the GCF method, greatest common factor. If I look at that, between 2x squared and 5x, my common factor is going to be x. So I'm going to pull out or divide by an x. If I do 2x squared and divided by x, I get 2x. If I divide 5x by x, I get 5. So now we have it factored. You're going to set both of those things equal to 0. What I mean by that is you're going to take this x on the outside here and set it equal to 0. And then that 2x plus 5 and set that equal to 0 and solve. Well, x equals 0, that's already completely solved for. Over here, I need to subtract that 5 and then divide by 2. I get -5/2 as my 2 solutions there, and 0. All right, and finally, our last one here is -36x squared plus 25 equals 0. Well, the great thing is it's already equal to 0. All right, let's look first if we have any greatest common factors. I don't see any GCS right off the bat, but your goal is you never want this first term, that one with the x squared, to be negative. So let's pull out that negative real quick. All right, when I do this, I see that I have 36, which is a perfect squared, x squared, which is a perfect squared, and 25, which is a perfect squared. So I'm thinking I can do the difference of squares. All right, which is when we do the x plus y times x minus y. So I'm thinking here I've got negative 36x squared. What times what gives me 36x squared? All right, so I've got 6x and 6x. What times what gives me 25? Positive 5, negative 5. Now we're going to set everything equal to 0. We don't have to set this negative 1 equal to 0 because negative 1 equals 0 would not be a real solution. I've got 6x plus 5 equals 0. 6x minus 5 equals 0. So my first solution is that x equals negative 5 over 6. My second solution is that x equals positive 5 over 6. And that is how you solve by factoring.